Hello, everyone. I am Yasmin West. I'm here with my husband, Robert West, and our little black kitty Shadow, for as long as he wants to stay. We're here on behalf of Radio Bob, and we're here to have a nice, friendly discussion with an amazing guy we just met through a mutual friend, Zac McKnight, and he is on a healing journey. He does lots of amazing things with spinal alignment work. But before we get into talking about what he does for that, he's been on a juice fast, which I think he's on day 19. Is that correct?
Yes, day 19.
Yeah. And so I'd love to hear his thoughts and everything about that. I myself have been having some changes going on with me with the living water that I've been drinking. So, juice is also a living water. So, welcome, Zach. Say hello.
Aloha, everybody. My name's Zac McKnight, and yeah, I'm so honored to be here on this show, and looking forward to what's to unfold. Thank you for
Yeah,
having me, guys. So grateful.
you're very welcome. Yeah. So I know for myself and my husband, he thinks I'm crazy when I do this sort of thing. But there was one year I did a 14-day juice fast. It was amazing, very cleansing, very healing. And then one year I did a 21-day water fast, which was, I think, the only thing I ended up, because it was in the middle of the holidays. So the only thing I did was I had some celery juice on Christmas Day, and that was it. But water throughout the whole rest of the fast. And I know, it was very cleansing physically, but it was also incredibly cleansing emotionally. And I
Mm.
know I've been watching your journey on Facebook. You post every day. So, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it has been quite the emotional journey, and me myself, I'm a very emotional being. All the astrology people out there, I'm a Pisces sun, Cancer moon, a lot of water planets, and super emotional. And I've grown up in a world where it wasn't safe to feel, and emotions were never safe, and being in the body was never safe. And I've learned how to navigate through this world by staying in my head and figuring everything out and needing to perform, and how I show up is everything, because if I don't show up a certain way, then it's not safe. And so I've become a master at distracting myself and staying in my head to keep myself safe and out of the body, and not to feel and to put my shoulders up. And there's just been a large amount of buildup with suppressed emotions for me in my life. And because I've been such a master at my craft and distractions and staying in my head, it's very easy to bypass it, and just keep going, especially with nowadays, with phones and TV and media, social media, and there's just infinite distractions, and we don't need to be in our bodies. We can easily just stay in our head and not even realize it. And so, yeah, the emotions that have arose from this cleanse has been insane and so beautiful. And it's just wild how much I, in my own personal journey, have used food to distract myself. That is the number one addiction I feel is in the world right now, is food. I've noticed myself when I eat, I'm not eating with love and nourishment and slowness and gratitude. When I was eating food, especially cooked food, it was to suppress, and I was just like eating super fast and just to stuff things down because I'm so hungry, and it's I'm actually not even hungry. What I'm really hungry for is love and connection, and that's what I've truly always been looking for ever since I was a little kid. That the one time that I would experience love and connection was at dinner time with my family. That's when I would be able to sit down and have a nice home cooked warm meal and sit and have and connect and love. And so I associated food with love, but it actually, the food is just a temporary fix. What's behind the food is so much deeper and something that we already have within us. And that's what's slowly unraveling for me in this journey right now, is just more love and more love and more love and more gratitude and so many tears and so many so many things to let go of. And it's just been such a wild ride.
Yeah, I remember at one point on my fast, obviously I had some pretty intense physical detox symptoms as well, where, the fatigue comes in and but it would change where, sometimes I'd have like a burst of energy and then I'd want to do something, highly physical and then I get really tired and I'm like, uh-oh, I took it too far. But I remember like feeling periods of intense sadness and I couldn't really pinpoint it on any particular thing. It needed to get out and needed to detox. And then after that's purged, it's gone forever. At least for me. Tell us a little bit more about that, how you're experiencing your emotional detox.
Oh, how am I experiencing my emotional detox? It's hmm, hmm. Yeah, what's just been coming up lately is again just finally feeling safe to be in the body and getting out of my head and having so much more awareness on how much times I've spent in my head. And when an emotion comes up, it's so crazy how the mind wants to figure it out and label it and make sense to it. And that's when the food would come in, when I would want to make sense to it. And that's when I would run away and go to food. And now I'm seeing myself go. In the beginning of my journey, what I noticed right away was complete overwhelm of anxiety and my brain just frying and my body just shutting down and me just feeling this overwhelming sensation of just overwhelm. And I wondered why. And it was because I actually, intelligently, my mind is so clever, said, "Oh, so we're not doing food anymore. Okay, so we're just going to be on the phone all the time now. Oh, so we're not going to be able to using food anymore. Oh, great. So we're just going to work out. We're just going to be on the phone. We're just going to talk to all of our friends. We're just going to outsource, 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 outsource." And because I had no food, no density, no, that's what I used to ground myself, or what I thought was grounding, but actually it was suppressing, because it actually never grounded me. It actually just brought me to a place where I couldn't feel my body's emotions and I could just sit safely in my head and rest or pass out, whatever you want to say. And
Yeah.
so what I've noticed is it's almost lovingly forcing me to stay in the body and wonder, what is this? I can't sleep. I can't think. I just have this overwhelm and I need grounding. Oh my God. And then I am like forced to search for things to ground me. What is going to ground me? Putting my bare feet on the earth, breath, getting off the phone, sitting with myself, just laying on the earth and sobbing and crying. There was one night I remember particularly when it really got let go of. I just had this burst of energy and I sprinted to the end of the drive, sprinted right to the end of my gated community and sprinted back and got back and just worked out super hard. And mind you, I'm juice fasting. So you don't want to work out super hard when you're juice fasting like that. So it just got me to a place of complete collapse. I got upstairs, laid on my fluffy little sheep rug and just laid down and started bawling my eyes out and started yelling all of these different sounds like just shaking and jumping up and down and pounding pillows and screaming in my pillow, releasing all this anger and all this sadness and just dancing in my living room and just moving my body. And it took about a half hour to an hour of doing that to where I finally just laid on the floor in complete surrender and said, oh, that's what I needed. I needed to come back to my body. And that has been my mission every day is how can I just stay in the body? Because the body is present. The body is always present. And it's the only thing that exists, really. The mind is always in the future and always in the past. And that's what causes the anxiety. But the body is in the present moment, right here, right now. And when we truly come fully immersed in the body, we can experience bliss and presence and love because that's what we're here to really experience. And so, yeah, that's been my journey so far with that. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Uh,
It, oh, go ahead.
that's the exact same quote that Jerry Lopez, the surfer, quotes from the Yogananda. This is
Mm,
man lives in the past and dwells upon the past, and he looks towards the future, and he forgets to live in the present.
mm,
That doesn't mean we're ignoring anything. It just means we're missing the beauty of the moment.
mm,
You know, and I get your whole thing with food. Now I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I love food, right? And I'll juice because you got to do it. You got to do a little bit of everything, and it keeps you grounded with the planet as well to understand the kind of food chains. But I had your problem. I was tired of satisfying my hunger with junk or speed, right?
mm,
So I could do exactly what you're saying. I could run right back to the TV, or I could run right back to my computer and work on this radio station, right? That's what I wanted to do. And about last year, I said, I'm missing the understanding of my meal.
mm.
And I'm gonna barbecue more, and I'm gonna eat off the barbecue. I'm not gonna run into the house, put on a plate, watch Yasmin drink her juice, and wolf down a steak in 3 minutes to keep up with her. No, no, no. I'm gonna take an hour to do this, or 2 hours to do this. I'm gonna turn this to an event and an adventure. And so, secondly, with that, when you go into the juice mode, you cross a different plane. You become like, I'm gonna use a different term, addict. You're getting rid of an addiction when you do a juice
Mhm.
fast. You're getting rid of the solid food addiction. And people have to understand that if they do not do things mentally and physically, they will be making a big mistake. When you
Mm,
get rid of any addiction, you have to do both. You
mm,
know, drug addicts have drugs still in their fat cells. Alcoholics
mm,
have alcohol in their fat cells. That's what the
Mhm.
DTs are. And you're talking about this release of emotion. You're like, where did it come from? And
mm.
it's great, isn't it? Because that's where it came from.
Yeah,
Gave you
totally.
personal fat cells. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the biggest, like the reason why what initiated me on this journey was my beloved Sophia Gaia Rose, bless her heart. She so her journey was she hasn't had meat since she was 12 years old. And she went on mainly fruits for about 10 years on and off. There's a protocol for everybody. There's no intense, this is the way, fruits is the way, all the way. It's a transition, it's step by step. And so she had her journey with, going mostly fruits, but having her times where she had warm food, where she didn't, and cooked food here and there, and had her ups and downs and had a journey, but mostly fruits for 10 years. And then she went on a 21 day water fast. And she only had eliminated twice in the 21 day water fast, and it was in the very beginning, and then for the rest of the time she didn't eliminate, so she wasn't moving anything, she wasn't eliminating any toxins from the body.
Right.
And so after the 21 day water fast, she went on a 90-day juice cleanse. And then a month and a half into the juice cleanse, I think she said on day, I think it was 35 or 40 or something like that, or no, I think it was like 45 or 50. She started having these long worms and these parasites coming out of her. And it wasn't until after 10 years of mostly fruits, 21 day water fast, and it was only at the 90-day juice cleanse that things like that started coming out of her. And it hit me so hard. Wait a minute, you've been on mostly fruits for 40 years. You did a 21 day water fast, and it wasn't until the 90-day juice cleanse, and those things came out of you. I can't even imagine what would come out of me. That's just, it blew my mind. I said, okay, done. I'm in, let's go. And I jumped right in. I'm kind of an extremist in that way. When I smell truth, I'm like, there's truth in that. I need to experience that for myself. And so I had to jump on the train. And yeah, it's really wild. I really do feel like the in the beginning it was really difficult, and it's getting more easy to not have those addictions, because I really do believe that the addictions aren't us. We aren't the addictions. The addictions are coming from the parasites and the worms that are living within our gut, and they hide in the filth in our small intestines, very deeply in there. And if we water fast, it's great emotionally, mentally, physically, great, but we're not moving that stuff out of our body. It's just sitting in there. And so my partner is very strong about the juice cleansing, and then actually dry fasting is another thing, but not until after the juice cleanse, because the juice cleanse clears out all of the toxins and clears out all the parasites so that you can finally be free from these parasites and these worms and these entities that live within our gut. And our gut is like our second brain, right? And if our brain controls the whole body, then we're being controlled by these things. And so I really asked myself this question: is it me that loves local venison? Is it me that loves popcorn? Is it me that loves pasta and rice? Is it me that loves lasagna with cheese and Hamburg and all mom's cooked meals? Is it me that likes that stuff? Or is it the parasites that like that stuff? That's the question. Which one is it? Which one is it? And I'm not going to truly know that answer until I clear out all the gunk out of my body first and come back to 100% fully me, clean, clear, nothing else involved, just me and my truth. At that point, then I'll know what I like, what my body, what Zac McKnight wants for his body, nothing else. And so that's what I'm on the mission of, is coming back to myself. What do I want? What do I need for me? And it's different for everybody, right? But we can't really fully know until we rid everything out of our body that's not us. And so that's kind of the journey I'm on, is to just find more of me, discover more of me, beyond the addictions, beyond the stories, beyond the belief systems, beyond the parasites.
I question the idea of giving the parasites the ability to determine whether they like a food or not, and reviewing the purpose of the parasite. It's kind of like, it could be just a parasite that's in there to do a job, and maybe he doesn't really care about where he lives. What he eats. I don't know.
Well,
just curious.
I'll chime in on that because
Yeah.
I've researched it a little bit. So we can never get truly rid ourselves of parasites, correct? At least I've heard that. Most people say, I mean, you can minimize them, and you can certainly minimize the more harmful parasites, but our microbiome, as far as I understand it, depending on what we feed it, will change as far as the living organisms in there. And so when we eat the junk food and the processed food, that's when we're creating a microbiome more favorable to the more harmful parasites, as opposed to the good bacteria that helps promote health. I don't know if you've dived into any of that, or what you can share on that, but that's what I've heard from.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you for that perspective. And honestly, I don't have a 10 out of 10 answer for that. So I'm gonna sit with that and definitely ask my beloved, because she's a regenerative health coach and a detox specialist. Any questions that I have, I go to her, or I go to Dr. Robert Morse. So Dr. Robert Morse is a beautiful uh, man that has been through quite the journey. He lived in his van for 6 months, and he lived off of nothing but oranges. And his journey was that when he was in the woods, was having these out of body experiences, these astral projections. He was connecting to God in such a way, and he was just thriving. And he was taking samples of his pee and he found that the pee that he had filaments in it and still had stuff in it, and it was kind of it wasn't clear. It had color to it. And he wondered, he said, I've been on nothing but oranges for 6 months. How do I still have filaments in my pee and all this color in my pee still? I'm really confused. And so he went and became a naturopathic doctor, and he became a doctor and got very, very well versed in the medical field and in the naturopathic doctor field as well. And then when he started seeing patients who would these patients that were eating horribly, horrible diets, and he took samples of their pee, and they were peeing clear, 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 clear every time, straight across the board. And he said, "That's interesting. They are peeing clear, and I'm not." And then it clicked for him. He said, "Oh my God, no way." And he noticed that the main cause of most physical ailments and disease is actually a buildup of waste in the lymphatic system. And if that's not moving, because cells are constantly, that we are cells, right? We are living cells. Our cells are constantly pooping. And so they're constantly releasing waste. And if that waste is not moving out of the lymphatic system, it gets stored in the kidneys, and also it gets stored in the kidneys, which causes physical illness and disease because of a buildup of waste that's not moving. And the only way to move that lymphatic waste is a high alkaline diet. And as much as fruit is acidic in flavor and in taste, it is a high alkaline food. And so his whole philosophy is that us as humans are actually meant to eat fruit, where we thrive on fruit, on high alkaline diet, because that is the one thing that moves our lymphatic waste every day. And so, yeah, I've watched quite a few of his videos, and if you have time, I highly recommend checking out Dr. Robert Morse. He's an inspiration, and he's helped a lot of people through detoxing and juice cleansing and great fasts and mono fasts and all the things. And he's a very incredible man, has a lot of information, and he's a really beautiful teacher. So as a really cool way to look at things and view physical illness and disease is really inspiring.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That makes complete sense. It's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the people that have like the ultra clear pee, they're holding on to their toxins. It's not coming
Mm-hmm.
out. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's where disease comes from. Disease comes from the system being at warfare with each other and just this buildup of waste constantly, and then it puts our body into fight or flight. And if our body's in fight or flight, it's spending most of its energy protecting us in protection mode, and it's not spending any of its energy healing us, which is what the body's meant to do. And that's the thing that I've really come to understand is that fruit isn't this magical thing like, oh, if I eat fruit, I'm going to heal. It's not the fruit that heals you. It's not the fruit that's magical. It's your body that's magical. It's your body. The body is a self-organizing, self-healing, self-correcting machine that is here naturally at its essence, here to heal you. And it has the infinite wisdom that underneath all of it. It's here, it's literally the body is everything. But it's when we but the fruit, what the fruits do is the fruits make it so our bodies can process and digest and move the waste and work and allow the body to work at its most optimal best so that we can experience the body at its fullest. It's the body that's magical, and the fruit is just the gateway to allow you to have that full connection to God, source, love, spirit, whatever you want to call it, that lives within you, the innate intelligence, the wisdom, the love, the magic. It's already here. We all have it. It's just being blocked by all the stress and all of the fight or flight and all the protection mechanisms and the waste, and our bodies are suffering. So we're just, yeah, it's interesting.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I followed I had my own journey uh where, after years of being thrown by horses and riding roller coasters, I had severe spinal misalignments that were affecting causing me knee pain. And, of course, you go to the doctor, they x-ray, they're like, you have arthritis. And So I looked a little deeper into it because they didn't really have any solutions for me. And so I looked into chiropractic care and found out that my spinal misalignments were causing everything in my body to be misaligned and to pull the muscles and ligaments to rotate my kneecaps outwards.
Mm,
And that's what was the true cause of my knee pain. And so after going through several years of adjustments, that improved quite significantly. And
mhm,
it's amazing, that it's like you say, once we get certain things out of the way, the body will self-correct itself.
mhm. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, it's yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I know I've going back to the parasites, I've heard other people kind of talk about, and maybe this kind of overlaps with the emotional detox and everything that we're talking about. I've heard people talk about the spiritual connection of the parasites and how there's it it goes back to kind of what you were saying about the parasites affecting your thinking and
Mm,
your frequency, and they're craving certain foods that are going to keep, I mean, not so much they want to harm their host, but they want to create an environment where they can thrive.
mhm. Yeah.
And so that's where a lot of those food addictions and cravings come from. Uh,
Mm,
you want to chime in, Bob?
Well, I'm gonna go back and save the parasites. So, we're a living being beyond the technology that assaults us, right? I mean,
mhm,
we've been on the planet for X amount of time, but the truth is we've only had technology for like a blink compared to the time that we've had living with our environment. So the parasites, they might be a benefit. You might need 50 specialized blue parasites to be in your body all the time to be normal. It's just when we get like 150 blue ones and no red ones that things get out of whack. But I'm not the expert, so I don't know. I know that we've existed with water, we've existed with our environment. We used to be a hunter gatherer that ate everything within 50 miles. We
mm,
didn't travel all over the place. We couldn't. We didn't have the time. We had to hunt, gather, plant, get water, fire, right? Live in the cave. So now that we have technology, and like you traveled from Massachusetts or wherever to Maui. Okay, the local food is different. There's a reason why you have to adjust. So
mhm,
your cleanse is going to become sooner or later environmental as you acclimate. If you've lived in
mhm,
that environment, you're the product of 25 generations in Massachusetts, you're going to do all right. I moved to Massachusetts. I'm 4 generations Californian. I'm going to freeze in 48-degree weather, and you're going to laugh at me because you're going to be standing there in a t-shirt and tennis shoes. But move to Maui 7 years later, and your parasites are going, hey, what happened to all that cold we were used to? So you
mm.
threw us all out of balance. Now I'm getting used to that. And so I'm just saying, maybe you're supposed to have a few of those guys doing some work. Maybe they're the guys that turn the wrenches that you need once in a while, make sure the equipment's working. Just not a lot of them, probably.
I have heard that theory from others
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah,
that
it's a very interesting theory, and my take on it is and where I move towards is I always like to return to the simplicity of everything, right? Where can we live in the how can we live in the most simplistic lifestyle and be as connected to the truth and to God and love as possible? And I really do think it's really that simple, and I think that us as humans complicate things a lot. And the simpler the better for me. And it's very true. You can live off anything. You can live off meat. There are carnivores. You can live off salads. You can live off breath. There's breatharians out there. You can live off of GMO, genetically modified food. and be great. You can be making $1 billion income every day. You could be a total success in your life and your family and everything. Everything's great and beautiful, fantastic, awesome. But how are you feeling?
Right.
How are you feeling? That's the question that I come down to. How are you feeling? Because you can have all the money and all the success and the greatest family in the world and have all the abundance of your GMOs, meats, or salads, all you want. But if you're not feeling that right, if you're not feeling right, if there's something a little off, it just, life isn't as abundant and beautiful and vibrant as it could be. And so
Right.
I'm just here to find out what it is that I can do to come back to simplicity, wholeness, authenticity, and truth consistently. Not ups and downs. What is bringing me up? What is bringing me down? Why am I on this roller coaster? Where can I find the balance consistently and live a very simple life where I just feel vibrant and beautiful and present and grateful to be right here, right now, consistently? And I'm noticing with the fast, with the detox, with the juice, and with the fruit, aside from all the emotional turmoil that I've been experiencing because of everything else I've done in my life that needs to clear before this happens. And I've been around the fruitarian community, been around my beloved Sophia, been around a lot of beautiful beings that have been on this path for years. And they describe that at its finest is after that level of letting go of the past, letting go of the old, letting go of the parasites and letting go of the old way of living, of eating and all the addictions, you come to a place of balance and consistent balance and simplicity and love. And that's what I'm after right now. I just want more of me, and I want to be authentically whole consistently. And I want to live simply. I want to live simple. Simple. I always think of the Garden of Eden, The Garden of Eden, how great would it be to just live in a world where we can just be surrounded by fruit trees and have your beloved next to you and make love all day and eat fruit, not have to worry about anything else. Like, it's pretty wild concept. It's really amazing to think about, but I just, I think about that. I'm like, wow, that just sounds so simple. It almost brings me into anxiety. You know what I mean? Like, but it's so simple and so beautiful. And that's what I want to come to. I want to create the Garden of Eden within my body and radiate that from the inside out, and so that's why I'm here, just to find the simplest way to come back to myself and live in that vibration.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe we can now transition a little bit on what you do on for. I know we're kind of focusing most of this discussion on your fasting because that's what you're in right now and that's what you're
Uh-huh.
living. So we want to capture that. But just for the benefit of others, maybe you could talk just a short bit about what you do with spinal alignment and
Hmm.
how that is so important for our health as well.
Yeah. And just a correction. So what I offer is actually a brain balancing. So
Okay.
it's called Alphabiotics. And
Okay.
so Alphabiotics is a full brain nervous system reset. And it was discovered in 1922 by a man named Dr. Virgil Crane Sr. And he was a chiropractor. And he did studies west of the Mississippi and found that none of the chiropractic adjustments were lasting 90 steps off the table.
Mm.
And he wondered why. And so he created his own 13-move process called the condyle lift. And when the EEG machines came out, they did tests and the results were off the charts. People were healing really fast. And they did tests and found that none of the moves that he was doing affected the brain except for the 13th move. And so he said, why am I doing all these adjustments if I can just balance the brain and the body heals itself? And so
Mm.
back to the same concept, the body is self-correcting, self-organizing, self-healing once it's out of fight or flight. And so that's what Alphabiotics is all about, is about taking people out of fight or flight, and back into calm, clear coherence with themselves. And in doing that, there's two different brain modes. And so there's the sympathetic, which is what we've been talking about, the fight or flight, right?
Mhm.
And then the parasympathetic, which is our rest and digest. It's the body's most optimal place for healing. And so there are three different types of stressors. There's the simple stress, which has a clear beginning and a clear ending. And so, say you're out walking across the street and you almost get hit by a car, you would probably jump out of the way and you would get kind of scared and you do one of these. Because when we're in a fight or flight mode, our brain lateralizes to one side. The opposite side of the body becomes tense for fight, which hikes up our hip about a half inch. The other side compensates by becoming weak for flight. So our fight or flight response, right? And
Okay.
so that's simple. And so when we're in that fight or flight state response, simple stress, what's supposed to happen within 30 minutes is we're supposed to come back to parasympathetic. Everything's fine. There's no car. I'm not being hit, not being attacked. No one's yelling at me. The brain then stops lateralizing, whole brain function, shoulder drops, hip drops. Everything's fine. We're all good. Clear beginning, the car almost hit you. Clear ending, the car did not hit you. That's simple stress. But
Right.
now we live in a day of modern day stress where there's no clear beginning and there's definitely no clear ending. And
Right.
so the stress is constant. We're constantly locked in that go mode, fight or flight, got to get the kids to school, got to find the keys. Where's my wallet? Oh God, got to lock the doors, security cameras, 5Gs, EMFs, cell phones, partner's mad at me. Oh God, my mom's on the phone. Constant go mode, and it doesn't end. And so if we're constantly in that stress state, would you agree that we're constantly having our hip hiked up and our brain lateralized? And so we're out of
Right.
balance, you know? And so the third type of stress is chronic unrelieved stress, which is when you're locked in that chronic stress pattern for so long that eventually it starts manifesting in disease, illness, and cancer, things like that, because that's just the symptom. Cancer, disease, illness is all just the symptom. And we live in a world in the medical field where they're all trying to heal the symptom instead of trying to heal the root cause of the problem. And the root cause of the problem is not the symptom. The symptom is a signal to it's the body, the intelligent body letting you know, hey, I've been stressed out for a really long time and I can't take this anymore. Here's some cancer. Here's some, disease. Here's some illness. Oh, my freaking arm hurts. Oh, my hip just went out. Here's some. And we're like, oh, I'll just get a hip replacement. Oh, I'll just get a crutch. Oh, I'll just put myself in a wheelchair. I'll just go get radiotherapy and fry all my cells and bacteria so I can heal myself. It's like, what? No, it's listening to the body and going to the root cause, which is in alphabiotic philosophy is the brain.
Right.
And so the brain controls the whole body. The brain and nervous system control the whole body. So if the brain is out of balance, the brain affects the nerves affect the fascia affect the muscles affect the bones. And so if the brain is out of balance, it's sending that signal throughout the rest of the body that, hey, we're in danger. Cortisol levels, let's hike it up a bit. All right, let's get that shoulder up. Let's get that hip hiked up. Let's get our fists clenched. We're on warfare right now. Let's go. You know? And so what Alphabiotics does is it sends a high sensory input to the back of the brain. There's right behind the mastoid and underneath the occiput, there's a conjunction of nerves that accesses the sympathetic nervous system. And it's a conjunction of nerves that's attached to every nerve in the body. And so when that gets pressed quick enough, it sends a signal throughout the whole brain and throughout the whole nervous system, which then sends that signal throughout the whole body that we're safe. The body feels safe again. I'm good. I feel safe again. And immediately when that signal gets sent, it sends throughout the whole body in 0.4 seconds. And immediately what happens is the brain stops lateralizing, whole brain function becomes back online, the shoulder drops, the hip drops, and I actually test this through a series of muscle testing and finding that before there was arm and leg weakness on one side, arm and leg strength on the other, and then after equal strength on both sides, and the hip are even, the shoulders are even, the neck tension is gone, whole brain function. And then again, just like the fruits, just like the detox, the body's out of fight or flight, the body can now begin to heal itself again. And so that's kind of what Alphabiotics is a full brain nervous system reset. Yeah. And
That
And
sounds amazing, and I'd love to get a session.
yeah, it's a really beautiful thing, and it's changed my life. And I did it for 3 months straight. I got alignments for 3 months straight by my teacher, Jeffrey Williams. He's a legend. I love him so much. And his wife, Swirl Moore, they're amazing. And they teach Alphabiotics in Nevada City. They have a website called vitalistproject.com. And
That's like
yeah, they're
right around the corner from me. Perfect.
oh, great. There you go. You can go get an alignment today.
Probably
Yeah.
for some
And then if you
reason.
want to come visit me, I'm on Maui. I have a website called MP Align, M as in mom, P as in Pam, mpalign.com. I have a great website there that explains everything that I just explained to get you a little more information. And I'm always welcoming people to come to Maui. And I have a beautiful property here on Maui with a pool and a hot tub and several bedrooms. And we're actually beginning to host retreats here and having people come down for 7 to 10 day immersions and detox journeys and to get alignments every day and completely reset their brain and nervous system and their gut to bring them into vital health. And so, and
That's
that's
amazing. So that can be done in that short of a period of time. Oh, sorry, you want to say something?
Yeah,
no, it's okay.
I have a curiosity on the mental side of the procedure and
Uh-huh.
afterwards. So we have an abundant amount of the population that loves to be just generally pissed off every minute.
Mm.
We all assume that they just like that, but we don't think of it as a potential addiction or side, how do I put this? Some sort of it gets created from this always being in your fight or flight mode. So if somebody who's say 10 years of just being PO'd at the universe doesn't realize that they're this physically out, has any studies on this been done as to the mental changes these people might feel? Has anybody looked at the negative consequences, maybe self-correcting or endorphin amounts changing? I don't know where to go to it because I think it's about a 4 hour discussion. But we have a lot of people that spend all day long messed up on politics for no reason.
Yeah.
And it's obviously some sort of endorphin to them. If they're physically broken on the back of their neck where Spock pinches you on Star Trek, maybe it would be a good thing to look into this and see if it kills that endorphin, and you'd rather get back to that endorphin that says, wow, the sun's up, and that feels much better than being pissed off today. Just
Mm.
asking for the
Yeah,
outside question,
totally.
right?
Yeah.
Anybody done anything like that or looked into that?
You know, thank you. That's such a beautiful question. And for me, the answer comes through very clearly. The answer is balance. Balance. And that's what Alphabiotics and that's what detoxing, that's what fruit fasting, that's what fasting, all of this stuff does is it brings you into balance. It's not about getting rid of the anger. It's about getting to the root of the anger and asking the question, how is the anger benefiting me? How is the anger benefiting me? Because it's benefiting you in some way, or else you wouldn't be angry all the time. So it's not about getting rid of anything. It's about embracing it fully and being aware of it. And that's what Alphabiotics does. It doesn't take the stress away because we need stress. If we're about to get hit by a car, we need to get the hell out of the way. If we're about to being chased by a lion, we need to run and for safety.
Yeah.
But the problem is that we're not being chased by a lion or getting hit by a car all the time. But because of the world we live in and the high sensory world we live in, our brains are thinking that we're running away from something all the time, and that's the problem. So it doesn't get rid of the stress. It just brings you into balance so that you can actually choose what you want. Because a lot of us in the world we live in is we operate from the amygdala, which is our fight or flight response. There's a couple different spots of the brain I'll speak of, and the amygdala is the fight or flight. That's our animalistic reptilian brain. It's that fight or flight, black and white, wrong or white, dark or light, terrible, terrific, always avoiding pain and seeking pleasure. It's always one side or the other. Wholeness does not exist there because you're always on one side or the other.
Yeah.
So what Alphabiotics does is it moves you from the amygdala into the executive center, the prefrontal cortex, which is where balance lives. That's where you can embrace both sides at the same time simultaneously and look at the equal benefits and drawbacks of the situation. And then and only then can you embrace the wholeness in which you already are, because you're no longer living in an extreme kind of world. You're living on both sides, because there's no anger is bad or anger is great. It's anger is anger, and it actually serves just as much as it is a drawback. And when we can truly ask ourselves our questions to get to that realization or operate from a different part of our brain, we can start to finally let go of the charge that's behind the emotion itself. It's not about getting rid of the emotion. It's about getting rid of the charge behind it, the trauma or the trigger behind it, kind of thing. That's how I would describe that.
All right.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that does pretty well for those that might want to associate it in a mental world. You know, we talk about this 80-20 rule. You wear 20% of the clothes in your closet, you don't wear the other 80%. And so in the universe, we meet 80% of the people that we meet, we hope to be able to talk to. The 20% of people that we meet, we know we can never talk to. They're so far unbalanced, they can't come back. Now, that isn't to mean that they're mean or cruel or someone that you have to avoid. No, their balance is so far gone that you can't even talk to them and explain to them, hey, if you just kind of calm down for a second, you might see this a little differently. And it's plus or minus, right? They're on both sides of this political spectrum. They're on both sides of the war spectrum. Doesn't matter what the topic is. 80% of the people are here, and then these other 10% on both sides are just too whacked out to deal with. But you know, we try to provide avenues and paths through people like you, so that people in that 80% spectrum that are just having a little bit of a bad day can look at an alternative to find a little bit of a better day. We don't want to tell them what to think about. They can go out and bang rocks. That's fine. Go ahead, do that. Just don't have somebody underneath them when you're banging them, right? Don't hurt anyone. And so you're a tool in the toolbox. It's not a bad thing at all. It's a great thing. And so I think there's a beneficial tool for people to look into who have experienced pain and have problems with their daily lives, to say, you know, maybe I'm not mentally unbalanced, maybe I'm physically out of whack a touch too. And then if I fix that, the mental day and getting up tomorrow and eating the Cheerios won't be so bad. So I really appreciate it. This is a beneficial thing to add.
Yeah, and you know, and Alphabiotics is just one way to get into the parasympathetic. You know, it's a very powerful way to do it. And the cool thing is, within your first alignment, you stay in that parasympathetic state for 72 hours. You know, it's amazing. It's you know, after you meditate for like 3 hours, you go outside and get in your car and start the engine, you're right back into fight or flight. And so it's definitely, you know, I always like to say Alphabiotics isn't better than everything else. It just makes everything else better. And it's a beautiful modality. And there's also many other modalities. There's a modality that I teach because I'm also a men's coach as well. I teach men, I help men master their sexual energy by optimizing brain, spine, and nervous system function. And so there's a modality that I teach men and my courses called Edu, and it actually can help a vast amount of people as well. It's a spinal maintenance practice that strengthens the spine. It lubricates and strengthens every vertebrae of the spine, from the lumbar all the way up to the neck. And it twists, toggles, and pulls on every vertebrae of the spine. It balances the left and right hemispheres of the brain and regulates the nervous system as well. And it's a practice you can do on yourself. And so there's a lot of bilateral movements, which help balance the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And it's done in a wide open, stable stance, so your hips don't move while your spine is gyrating. So it targets the lumbar spine and helps unlock that lumbar spine. My teacher, Swirl Moore, was experiencing degenerative bone disease, and she told she was going to be put in a wheelchair within the next 10 years. And she did Edu, and she's not in a wheelchair like 20, 30 years later. And so, yeah, it helped her. It's helped a lot of people. So it's not just you need Alphabiotics, and if you don't have an Alphabiotic practitioner, you're screwed. Because like, no, there's other practices out there that help balance the brain and nervous system. And also, just one more thing, that I noticed about Alphabiotics is it was so helpful and so beautiful for me. And I did it for 3 months straight. And now that I don't have them here on Maui, because I'm one of the only practitioners here on Maui, I'm not getting them anymore. I think that's what, drew me to this detox journey, because I was like, well, there's got to be another way to bring the body into balance, right? There's got to be another way. Like, I don't have access to an alphabiotic practitioner, and now I'm in the amygdala. Like, what do I do? And so what I realized is it's not just getting alphabiotics. It's not just eating just fruits and only fruits, and the fruits are going to heal me. Alphabiotics is going to heal me. It's like, no, only you can heal yourself. And
Right.
it's when we bring the masculine and the feminine together in coherence with one another. It's about bringing the mind into the body. It's about healing through the body and healing through the mind. It's mantra and movement. It's brain balancing and detox. It's both. And when you have both coming together as one, we become the whole human, superhuman that we are. And we discover the authentic wholeness, true, superhuman, amazing being that we're all meant to be while we're here. Because what else are we here for other than to experience the full spectrum and come back to the simplistic, authentic, beautiful superhuman that we are always meant to be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you
Yeah.
very much. This has been a very enlightening conversation, and I think we've discussed some things that'll be very helpful to people. And that's what we're here to do at our radio station, is just bring things and tools to people to make them live a more happy, harmonious life. So thank you. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing your knowledge and your wisdom.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm so grateful to be here. And yeah, if anyone feels called to continue watching my journey, it's a wild one, and you never know what you're going to get when you wake up and look at my profile. There's emotional releases. There's days where I'm feeling really low, and there's days that I'm feeling super high and super in my heart. But I promise authenticity. And yeah, if you want to follow me, I'm Zac McKnight. So ZAC_McKnight, MCKNIGHT. That's how you can find me on Instagram. And yeah, I'm taking videos every day on this detox for the next 90 days, and today's day 19. So let's keep growing.
So if people want to see how raw a detox can get,
Yeah, for sure. It's
they
definitely
can
not all
tune
butterflies and
in.
rainbows. It definitely has those moments, but there's a lot of suppressed things that we haven't really yet faced, and I'm on the journey to face all of them with love, and it's definitely not pretty sometimes.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm so grateful to be here, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.